subsection 1, the district election officer shall appoint a presiding officer for each polling station, and such polling officer or officers as he thinks necessary, but he shall not appoint any person who has been employed by or on behalf of or has been otherwise working for a candidate in or about the election. Then, provided that if a polling officer is absent for the polling station, the presiding officer may appoint any person who is present at the polling station other than a person who has been employed by or on behalf of or has been otherwise working for a candidate in or about the election to be the polling officer during the absence of the former officer, or inform the district election officer accordingly. Provided further, nothing in this subsection shall prevent the district election officer from appointing the same person to be the presiding officer for more than one polling station in the same premises. Then your lordships kindly consider section 159 of the Act. Well, this is after amendment of 1997. This section has been introduced. Section 159. The authorities specified in subsection 2 shall, when so requested by regional commissioner appointed under subclause 4 of Article 324, or the chief electoral officer of the state, make available to any returning officer such staff as may be necessary for the performance of any duties in connection with an election. 2. The following shall be the authorities for the purpose of subsection 1, namely, every local authority. 2. Every university established or incorporated by or under a central, provincial, or state act. 3. A government company as defined in section 617 of the Companies Act. 4. Any other institution, concern, or undertaking which is established by or under a central, provincial, or state act, or which is controlled or financed wholly or substantially by funds provided directly or indirectly, or by the central government or state government. In consideration of this, these provisions of the Act, the election manual was published by the Election Commission. Handbook, the chapter 3 deals with polling personnel. Kindly consider first, your lordships, 3.1.2, part to appoint polling personnel unilaterally. Your lordships, that's section 26 I have placed before your lordships. Then your lordships will find 3.1.3, the order for requisitioning staff for election work by the chief electoral officer under section 159. Then, my lord, 3.1.4, my lord, has been quoted, my lord, the section 159. The last paragraph, but the first paragraph of the, my lord, the next page, page 29, your lordships kindly consider. Thus, as your lordship got that one, yes. Thus, the staff of any of the above mentioned authorities, companies, institutions, concerns, or undertakings could be requisitioned and put on election duty in addition to employees of central and state governments in view of the above amendment. But if there is any dirt, probably in case of any government employees, central and state, first state, then central, and if there is any dirt, my lord, they can requisition the staff. My lord, the staff means the regular staff who are on payroll of the companies, government companies, or the statutory bodies or the institutions. But that will be clear from the next general guidelines. Your lordships, my lord, kindly consider 3.2.1. While requisitioning staff, the following guidelines should be kept in mind. My lord, each of the paragraphs are very vital, your lordships. Kindly allow me to place this. A. Based on the availability of the staff in the institutions covered under section 159(2) of the RP Act 1951 and the requirement of staff, the staff may be requisitioned from such institutions. B. For the purpose of efficient control of the polling personnel and of economy in expenditure on traveling allowances, etc., each district, as far as practicable, should use its own personnel. All the personnel working under the state and the central government offices in the state, as well as under the local bodies, have to be mobilized, and an assessment of availability should be made well in advance. The central government and the state governments have issued instructions to all their heads of departments and offices of the central and state governments to furnish to the district election officer data of officers in different categories. These should facilitate returning officers' task of making suitable selection of polling personnel. As the polling parties are to be comprised of a proper mix to the extent possible of central government, kindly consider your losses. Central government, central PSU, state government, state PUC employees. Separate database for such officials are to be prepared by the returning officer. Some of these central government officials may also be deployed as micro observers. C. The database of the above officials should also contain the AC number and name and part number and the serial number of the electoral roll in which he has been enrolled, in addition to his residential address and address of office where posted. The sponsoring authorities are expected to discharge a greater role to ease the burden on the DEO or RO specially in ensuring delivery of appointment letters, other urgent communications from the DEO and RO to their own officials. All the sponsoring authorities may be asked to appoint a nodal officer who could be contacted by the election authorities at the time of need. Then your losses, kindly see. D. Seniority of officials should be properly taken care of while giving election-related duty, and it should be ensured that a senior officer is not put on duty under an official who is quite junior to him or her. Presiding officers and polling officers are to be classified on the basis of scale of pay, their post and rank. Well, pause here for a moment. These cannot be ascribed to the contractual workers. In determining the rank and status of officials drawn from different pools with different pay scales, the relative position of the official in his cadre and organization may be taken into account, and not merely the pay scale. Say, for example, if a Group D employee from any pool, even if it drawing a higher scale, should not be assigned duties of a presiding officer or polling officer. The presiding officer should be of a higher scale or grade in comparison to all polling officers. The employees belonging to revenue departments who are enjoined upon responsibility of the collection of revenue should be appointed in collection with the department in charge of the revenue collection. Then all representations who are duly forwarded by the concerned department in this regard should be properly considered. Cases of disagreement, if any, should be brought to the notice of the chief electoral officer immediately. For the school teachers working as extra department postmasters or should not be put on polling duty, as that will lead to the interruption in the maintenance of essential service of the postal departments. Employees of banks, LIC may be drafted on election duty to the minimum extent possible. Only in a constituency where sufficient number of government employees are not available, or in emergent circumstances such as strike, etc., by the government employees. Care should be taken to ensure the minimum numbers of employees of such institution are requisitioned so that the business of these institutions is not hampered. In case of employees of local bodies, namely municipalities, panchayat samitis, jila parishad, etc., are engaged on polling duties at a polling station, it should be ensured that the presiding officer and the senior polling officer of a polling station, who in the event of absence of a presiding officer is to function as presiding officer, should not be both the employees of the local authorities. Now kindly see the caution taken, Malad. There are certain reasons, your lordships, that polling officer and presiding officer should not be from the same pool or the same organization, because so that they do not act in concert with for deviation of the election process. Further, except the first polling officer who does the identification, the other officer could be employees of the local authorities. All establishment and shops, including these were shop businesses, will be closed. Malad, these are the other things. So these are the elaborate guidelines, Malad. This shows, Malad, it presupposes that no contractual workers, Anganwadi workers, or work charged employees can be appointed, my lord, But I have the instances I have not annexed. Even civic defense volunteers, they have been appointed as polling officers in the Birbhum of this district. Now your losses kindly consider page 56 of the petition. Now this year losses kindly consider this is updated 1st March 2021 before the last assembly election was held. But this was issued by the Chief Electoral Officer West Bengal.
Yes.
But reference above, the polling personnel have received the first general training. The hands of training is to be completed by 1st March 2021. In this context, it is urged that the guideline mentioned under Part 4 of checklist for district election offices published by the Commission on June 25, 2018 has to be adhered to while actually deploying the trained polling personnel for duty, which envisages that contractual workers not to be engaged. Now, if I show you losses, the documents kindly consider all of the state last assembly election. Then I will take your losses once for that. But before that, your losses kindly consider the page 58 and 59. Page 58, part 4, personal management. Then straight away come to your losses, page 59, 4.9 para, 4.5. Not to be deployed in election duties. Official workings in CBI, IB, RAW, personal working in essential services. 2. Contractual workers or Anganwadi workers not to be engaged in elections. Now, if your lordships kindly have a look at this document I have annexed to my petition, right from page 35, your lordships will find, kindly have a look at page 39. It starts from page 35. Page 39, your losses. These are the contract. The Ganesh Patro is one of the contractual workers. I have shown to your losses in supplementary affidavit. Kindly see the bottom. Released on 6th April 2021 at page 12 at 12:30. Notification at page 56. Your losses 1st March 2021. Now your losses take the supplementary affidavit page 6 and 11. His identity card. And after completion of election, discharging his election duty, he got the his fees or honorarium, whatever your lordship say. Kindly have a look at this. These are just peons. The other thing are the cleaner. All the documents I have searched, but some of them I have got, some of them not. Kindly see is the election, general election identity card, Ganesh Patro, category of polling officer, 3rd polling officer. And then you'll see the last page. He has got the election duty charges, page 11,
yes,
very first entry. Now, therefore, your losses kindly see the way your losses. I have been able to give in one district of the state to above 2,000 contractual workers of one body, local body. Howrah Municipal Corporation has been engaged in the state assembly election. They don't have any accountability towards the government. They don't have any definite scale of pay. They don't have any in the payroll of the commission. They don't have any service book. Why this has been issued by the commission, the personal management of the norms? Because so that the persons who are assigned the duty of election, they must have some accountability and they are within the control of the government or the election commission. Just because the control of the government is not there, the election commission cannot also take any action against them. And kindly, your lordships, I have given example, your lordships, in this. These 2036, is the contractual worker. There is no process of selecting them. There is no definite procedure. I have alleged in the petition the 2 officials of the Howrah Municipal Corporation are engaged in recruiting them. The point I'm trying to make out that they are recruited without any following any provisions of law, so that they can be used and they can dance at the tunes of the government or the local bodies, so that they can perform whatever they like. So these things, your lordships kindly consider. I will be citing one judgment, your lordships. Well, this is reported in 1995, supplementary 2 SCC, page 13. Now, my lord, this is before, my lord, introduction of section 159. I mean, that's introduction of section 159 before in my lord, amendment by way of amendment. Now, this paragraph 5, your lordships kindly consider. 1995, supplementary 2 SCC, page 13. Paragraph 5. In exercise of the power vested in Parliament under these articles, it enacted the Representation of People Act 1950 and the Representation of People Act 1951. The 1950 Act provides for the allocation of seats and the demolition for membership of those houses. The corrupt practice and other offences are in connection with such election. Section 26 of the 1950 Act enables a district election officer to appoint a presiding officer for each polling station. Section 159 of the said Act reads as follows: staff of every local authority to be made available for election work. Every local authority, before amendment, this was the provision, your lordships. Every local authority in a state shall, when so requested by a regional commissioner appointed under clause 4 of Article 324, or the chief electoral officer of the state, make available to any returning officer such staff as may be necessary for the performance of any duties in connection with an election. From a conspectus of the above provision, it seems clear to us that on the request of the Election Commission, the President or the Governor of the state must make available to the Election Commission such staff as may be necessary for discharge of functions conferred on the Election Commission under clause 1 of Article 322. In view of clause 6 of the Article 324, the President or the Governor of the state, when requested, will make available to the Election Commission the services of such staff as may be necessary for discharge of the functions conferred by the Election Commission. By this, it is meant that the persons whose services may be placed at the disposal of the Election Commission must be persons who are either employees of the state government or of the central government. Now, kindly consider that. Again, in view of section 159 extracted above, when requisition is made by the regional commissioner, the local authority shall make available its staff for the purpose of duties in connection with election. Thus, therefore, there is no dispute. The controversy arises in view of the action taken by the District Election Commission in the following requisition. Here, your lordships, the District Election Officer requisition staff from the bank. Bank refused to do it, my lord, your lordships. Paragraph, my lord, 18. Stay to your lordships. Lord, kindly paragraph 18. Now come to Article 324. It will be useful to extract the following clauses of the said article, which have a bearing on the issue involved. 324. The superintendent's direction and control of the preparation of the electoral rolls for and the conduct of all elections to Parliament and to the legislature of every state and of elections to the office of the President, Vice President held under this Constitution shall be vested in a commission. 4. Before such general election to the House of the People and to the Legislative Assembly of each state, and before first general election, and thereafter before each biennial election to the Legislative Council of each state having such council, the President may also appoint, after consultation with the Election Commission, such regional commissioners as he may be necessary to assist the Election Commission in the performance of the functions conferred on the Commission by Clause 1. Now to 20, paragraph. We assume the power of the Election Commissions under Article 324 are plenary. Therefore, the Election Commission may issue direction in the matter of conduct elections. But the question is, in the garb of conducting election, can the Election Commission user of the power not vested in it? This will depend on the understanding of Clause 6 of Article 324. For the conduct of election, when the election commission makes a request to the president or the governor to make available the staff, they are obliged to provide the services. What is the meaning of such staff? According to Mr. Dusman Dave, we should refer to Article 310, which talks of a member of a civil service in contradistinction to defense service of the union or the state, holding office during the pleasure of president of the governor. Obviously, such staff can only mean that staff which is under the control of the president of the governor concerned, and not any staff over which they do not exercise control. It could mean only that staff on which the president or the governor, as the case may be, would be in a position to exercise disciplinary powers should they refuse the president's or the governor directive. Although the constitution makers did not say the union or the state governments, but only the president or the governor, it is obvious that they would have to act consistently with Article 17(4), Article 163, Sub-Article 1, respectively. Therefore, on a request by the Election Commission, the services of those government servants who are appointed to public services and posts under the central of the state governments will have to be made available for the purpose of election. But contractual workers do not hold any post, my lord. When the constitution came into force, the services of these officers were readily available. Of course, there were also local authorities, and the services of the employees of the local authorities are also available. That is why Section 159 of the 1951 Act.
Actually, between placentum D and E, that is
That's.
And then you please come to para 22.
And exactly.
Para 22.
Merely because the provisions of the two acts require that they must be officers of the government or local authority.
Unlike the last 6 lines of paragraph 22.
Exactly.
Maybe to conduct the election.
Maybe the election, maybe to conduct the elections, many polling stations are set up. Consequently, the service of many persons may be required. Maybe the election commission may draw the minimum staff from the banks to ensure the banking business is not disrupted. But the question here is of power and not discretion. If there be power, it may be exercised with circumspection, and the minimum staff may be requisitioned. But if there is no power, the question of mode of exercise will not arise at all. This is a question of existence of power and not the manner of its existence.
This led to the amendment.
This led to the amendment. But amendment, your lordships, kindly have a look just for once. Amendment. Kindly, your lordships. Following, my lord, this has expanded, my lord, the earlier provisions of the Act. Every local authority is now covers. Every university established or incorporated by or under central or provincial act, government companies, now any other institution or concern or undertaking which is established by or central or provincial act. Suppose state government as state bank employees, they now are under this central act. So it has been expanded.
Even if it is so, even if it's under the state act, your argument is they have to be regular employees.
Exactly. They are the payroll of the government. They have some responsibility. But kindly consider the manual of this paragraph D.
3.2.
How this is to be. Meticulously, this has been drafted by the commission. I just take your lordships for once. Paragraph D. 3.2. Kindly consider.
3.2B.
Oh, manual. Seniority of officials should properly be taken care of while giving election-related duty, and it should be ensured that a senior official is not put on duty under an official who is quite junior to him or her. Presiding officers or polling officers are to be classified on the basis of the scale of or their post or rank. In determining the rank and status of officials drawn from different pools with different pay scales, the relative position of the officials in his cadre organization may be taken into account and not merely the pay scale. So, overall, what designation has been, what duties he is performing, what is his responsibility toward the post, toward the service of the government, all these has to be taken into consideration. Now, kindly consider, the government employees are recruited to a selection process. Now, contractual workers are not. They are at the whims of the authorities, local authorities. They can serve the purpose of the officials of the local bodies. They can be recruited, they can be engaged. So they don't have any accountability towards the government. So on the basis of recruitment of the contractual workers, these will facilitate the breeding ground of corruption in the election. Because they don't have, because they have been recruited not on the basis of their merit, but on the basis of their how they can please the other officials, or they are somehow connected with the other officials. So they should not be assigned the democratic duties of performing elections.
Yes.
Now, one more thing, I will just, you'll also kindly consider paragraph 3.2, paragraph B.
Yes, we have seen that. B and E.
Be only one thing, because I have heard in the morning the arguments. But kindly consider this after 2 lines. All the personnel working under the state and central government offices in the state, as well as under the local bodies, have to be mobilized, and assessment of ability should be made well in advance. This presupposes that this should be done before publication of the notification for election. Election notification, if I am not published on 9th, my writ petition was moved 6th of this instant. Now, therefore, the commission is ready with the worker, the staff who are going to be deployed. But kindly ask the commission to produce that for protect the democracy. This is the situation I have narrated. Because of this, now certain candidates may not be one party, maybe other party, have lost their in election only 500 votes, 600 votes, 1,000 votes. This is the process your losses. They are the main officials who have conducted the elections. Now this is single phases election throughout the state.
For election to municipality, each provision is for panchayat. Panchayat and commission. And so requesting is necessary to discharge the functions conferred on by subsection 1 of section 4. Four, superintends direction and control of the preparation of electoral rolls for the conduct. So, subchapter staff which has been added to the commission. They are made available. Even Subsection 2, will you please say? Same section. So, if suppose he is a appreciation from the state, whatever is the day, so it is fine. So, just but in
The B of para 3.2.1. Then your losses in advance. Then central government and state governments have issued instructions to all their heads of departments and offices of central and state governments to furnish to the district election officer data officers in the different categories. Now, kindly consider this has to be done. If I read it correctly, it presupposes the entire work or exercise to be completed before the notification is done. Otherwise, this data cannot be after issuance of notification can be done. The chief election commissioner of the state has been appointed on 6th. The notification of election has been issued on 9th. Now, the election is to be held ultimately on 8th. But I am putting a question to myself. Can this exercise be done by within such a sort of time of 2 or 3 days, or it is yet to be done? If it is yet to be done, your lordships, then this is a violation of the manual. Then your lordships kindly call for a report from them that how they have proceeded with these provisions of the manual in conducting the election.
yes.
These are my
Anybody supporting you? No, I can give reply.
There are 2 or 3 of them who want to intervene in the matter.
Lord, I appear for the government staffs, my lord.
You are for the government staff for protection.
Songrami Jyotho Manchu, my lord. I have already lodged one complaint.
Ah.
Recently, my lord, threats are being going on against
What
the
is your organization called?
Songrami Jyotho Manchu. My lord, we are agitating in Shohid Minar. And my lord, already a complaint has been made, my lord, against Mr. Kaiser Ahmed, who is giving threats to these government employees. And there has been, my lord, report that সরকারি ভোটে কর্মীদের হুমকি. So, my lord, these we will be, my lord, actually conducting the elections in the local level, in the remote villages.
Jyotho Mancha.
To meet these points, we
And I appear for the Sikha Anuragi, the United Association.
Will come.
We have not been served with any of
I mean,
this. I do not know
no.
what exactly the complaint is in this petition.
No, you filed a CAN application.
Yes, can application.
In this writ petition.
In item number 2. Yes.
Item 2.
Item number 3. Just to ensure, my lord, right to life and personal liberty, and my lord, central paramilitary for us. Otherwise, my lord, already, my lord, I have given example at page. On last election, my lord, the government servant was murdered. After High Court intervention, my lord, it was taken page 42. Page 41, your lordship, that is the report, and page 42 was the FIR.
That report is there. Full
Yes.
report is, yes, filed it in the other case.
Yes, my lord. So, my lord, the employees who would go in the field to conduct the elections, my lord, they are at all not secured. At least the last election.
Protect their life and liberty. Yes. Then who else? What is your organization?
Sikha Anuragi, United Association, Balichok. My prayer is, my lord, the safety and security of the police polling officer as well as the polling personnel should be, my lord, the ensured, my lord, since, my lord, last Panchayat election, my lord, a polling officer was found, my lord, missing. Subsequently, his dead body was found on the, my lord, the railway track, my lord. My lord, also in 2013 ensuing election, also we are apprehending that, my lord, the same situation will arise, my lord, considering the earlier situation, earlier election, my lord, in 2019 as well as 2021, my lord. We have lodged complaint with the election commission, my lord. Since 2019, my lord, we are raising, my lord, the complaints, and last complaint.
So far, my writ petition is concerned, my lord. Although Lordship was pleased to direct me to wait, my lord, we have not filed yet, my lord.
No, we are taking it.
Well, only
So we will consider you as
this
intervener.
this is, my lord, this petition is in aid of the item numbers 2 and 3, my lord. This is filed by one of the member of parliaments from Malda, my lord. What is the issue is, my lord, I am exhausting, my lord, with regard to the prayers. Lordship will kindly come to the prayers. I will not take your lordship's much time, my lord. So far as lordship has extensively heard the other two petitions, my lord, submissions have been made, my lord. So far as the first prayer B is concerned, my lord, that is the extension of extension of time to file the nominations. Lordship has heard that point. So, my lord, I need not add anything more to that, my lord. I leave it to your lordship. Lordship have heard it extensively, my lord. So far as, my lord, prayer C is concerned, my lord. Prayer C also is a certiorari. So, my lord, I need not, my lord, harp on that much, my lord. Prayer D is on the paramilitary forces, my lord. Lordship has
Prayer D has been
prayer E is on paramilitary forces, my lord. Prayer D is a rule, nice, my lord, and prayer E is on paramilitary forces, my lord. Also, that point also your lordship has heard exhaustively, my lord. So I need not, my lord, take your lordship.
Prayer F is videography.
Videography, my lord. Here, my lord, here I have one small addition to make, my lord. Lordship, in the earlier occasions, what we have seen, my lord, in 18 at least, my lord, my limited experience, my lord, videography are usually done on the poll day inside the polling booth, my lord, at the time of nomination inside the block offices and SDO offices where the nominations are actually filed, my lord. The real difficulty what arises, my lord, is on the poll day when the electorate actually comes to poll, my lord. So if they are obstructed,
So in addition to that, on the polling day,
yes, a polling day, not only, my lord, inside the polling booth, and if your lordship makes a direction to, because most of the cities, my lord, most of the places, my lord, now there are CCTV installed for the police to maintain law and order, my lord. If those CCTV can be
normally CCTVs are installed inside the polling booth also,
yes,
but it will not cover the
periphery, the outside, my lord. If
inside the polling
inside also there are blind
up
spots,
to the
my lord.
place they place the ink,
Precisely, my
and
lord.
he goes into the booth.
Precisely.
The camera will not cover.
No, that not that. But there are
the ballot paper,
yes, my lord.
the water,
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
what happens? Finger is ink. Then he goes into that cubicle.
The cubicle, and that's a blind spot. So that I'm not saying, my lord. What I am on is, my lord, if there are additional cameras, my lord, placed immediately outside the polling booth, my lord, where the actual queue starts, my lord. Because the real problem is, my lord, the electorate.
So you want the entire thing to be videographed.
Yes.
Right from starting of the queue where the people queue
at least to some extent where there is a vantage view of a portion of it, my lord.
See, the thing is,
I know it is a difficult, my lord. I understand that, my lord.
Probably it will be practical. So the time when you queue up near the polling booth, or you enter the polling booth, from that stage it can be covered. To cover it from the road for, let us assume, half a kilometer.
No, not the entire road. Say, for example, my lord,
there your agents are there. They will take care.
You see that
the agents are there.
The real difficulty is
they are issuing the slips outside 1 kilometer radius.
Absolutely, my lord.
They will keep a watch. Which fellow is going where? What is happening? They will keep a watch.
So that is.
So in case of any problem, they will immediately informing the polling officer, saying that this is happening. That's
absolutely, my lord. Absolutely. That is how things are done, my lord. We have been seeing this, my lord.
No. Your concern is, in addition to that, it should be in the polling day and should be extensive coverage.
Absolutely, my lord.
That we
The existing CCTV, whichever existing CCTVs are already there, they should also be put to
additional cameras.
use to Malad for monitoring because the Malad, there are CCTVs installed on the road. What I am trying to Malad emphasize, Malad, if the election commission can use those CCTVs which are already pre-installed, Malad, by the police authorities, Malad, so they can actually monitor the areas, Malad, certain areas, Malad, especially not all areas, probably the areas which are designated as highly sensitive areas, Malad. Because nowadays, Malad, the state cannot Malad, shy away from saying this, but the entire state is covered with CCTV,
No,
Malad.
that footage can be migrated or aggregated to the
Precisely.
They can share that footage.
Precisely. So the IP should be handed over to the IP addresses should be handed over to the election commission so that during this period that they can monitor it, Malad.
Yes.
Grateful, Malad.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
One more. And you are who's the petitioner?
Lordship, I'm move this application in person.
Oh, you.
Lordship, my contention is a single contention. Your Lordship, I will rely.
Which is the panchayat you are going to exercise your vote?
It is on Kalikapur 1
Kalikapur
in
1.
South Chobbish Pargona, Kalikapur 1, your Lordship. Lordship, my concern is there is a specific. Yes.
Thank you.
Lordship, my concern is there is a specific direction given by Honorable Justice Rajashekar Mantha regarding the deployment of civic volunteer, not to deploy the civic volunteer for the law and order duties. And Lordship, kindly, I will rely upon only two documents, your Lordship. Kindly come once, page number 16, your Lord. 16. That is a circular, and that was a report filed by the Inspector General. And in that particular report, they themselves said, in page number 17, a civic volunteer cannot be entrusted with any law enforcement duties, your Lordship. Lordship, after that, on page number 31, Lordship got page number 31, annexure P3. Lordship, the Inspector General of Police Welfare circulate the same circular throughout the state that not to deploy the civic volunteer for the law and order duties. But your Lordship, what we have witnessed for the last 2 days for the nomination, on the nomination date, that there was a clash in the Raninagar and in Domkol in the district of Murshidabad, your Lordship. And there we have seen from the media, your Lordship, and we have I have annexed all the photos here, your Lordship, that the civic volunteer, despite there is a direction, your Lordship, but still they deployed there for the purpose of civic volunteer, for the purpose of law and order duties, your Lordship. They dispersed the unlawful assembly.
Probably because he's the police in the making.
Probably, your Lordship, as far as I think, your Lordship, there's insufficient of police officials, your Lordship. That is my concern. Lordship, my single prayer is kindly to exclude them from the electoral process, your Lordship. That's all. Lordship, just one point to consider, your Lordship, probably they are assuming their power beyond the scope of rule of law, because there is a specific direction given by this court and specific direction given by the Inspector General. But still after that, the superintendent of police of that particular district and the particular two police station, Domkol and Raninagar, they have done nothing. They have deployed the civic volunteer for the law and order duties, and these police officials will deploy it for the purpose of the free and fair election, your Lordship. So, Lordship, my humble prayer is, your Lordship, kindly exclude them from the electoral process, your Lordship.
Yes.
Grateful, your Lordship.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm taking the last one first. My learned friend has very spiritedly made his submission. So, with regard to civic volunteer, well, your Lordship can take it down that so far as the Election Commission is concerned, Not one has been, and we are not interested in engaging the civic volunteer for the purpose of enforcement of law and order. Absolutely not. No, that takes care of
No,
it.
that is one part of it. The other part is, you senior may cover that also.
Yes.
They say not to be included in any of the election process. It forms a cluster. They say contractual employees, badli workers.
I shall come to that. My lord, let me now take up, my lord, Mr. Chanel's application. My lord, kindly take the application of Dipankar Rit, on which, my lord, I shall be very short, and my point is very simple. Kindly, my lord, come to paragraph 6, on which very strong reliance had been placed of this writ petition. Your lordship has got that. This is, my lord, WPAP number 250 of 2023.
Yes.
My lord, paragraph 6. The petitioner ultimately, after a strenuous effort, have come to gather information that 2036 contractual worker persons of the Howrah Municipal Corporation has been engaged and are deployed as polling officers in the state assembly election held in the month of 2021. And thereafter, well, in this paragraph, it has been mentioned the names of the persons and the assembly constituency in which, my lord, these people have been engaged. Well, first of all, I take this simple point that these are concerning the state election, state assembly election. I am not concerned with it. Chief Election Commissioner was there, elected. And my lord, he was appointed under, my lord, the Representation of People Act. Representation of People Act, my lord, is not applicable in our case. We are concerned, my lord, with this act, my lord, in the Panchayat Election Manual, the Panchayat Election Act, and, my lord, the provisions thereafter. Therefore, these averments which have been made in this petition and these complaints which have been made in this petition, my lord, have no application whatsoever. If your lordship looks into the annexes, also, just as a matter of...
That is very clear.
Yes.
On facts, he is referring, they have referred to incidents which have been done in the past. What they say is, the underlying principle is the handbook for election.
My lord, now...
Which has been published, which says, gives varied issues. I mean, how the deployment should take place.
Lordship.
And he says it presupposes that contractual employees should not be put in place.
This is wrong. Let me, my lord, correct this submission of my learned friends, clients. My lord, may I hand up to your lordship, my lord, the report in this matter has been prepared by. This has summarized our submissions. It copy আছে তো? Annexure should do.
All annexures.
All annexures. Lordship will kindly take. Copy me. Give it up.
Yes.
My lord, kindly take, my lord, section 28(1) of the West Bengal Panchayat Election Act. We are governed by this. I am going to proceed on the basis of this. Section 28(1), that has been quoted also, if your lordship looks into it. It goes like this: subject to the provision of subsection 5 of section 6 of the West Bengal State Election Commission Act 1994, the Panchayat returning officer shall, with the prior approval of the district Panchayat election officer, appoint a presiding officer for each polling station and such number of polling officer or officers to assist the presiding officer as he thinks necessary, but shall not appoint, kindly note the embargo, shall not appoint any person who has been employed by or on behalf of or has been otherwise working for a candidate in or about the election as a presiding officer or a polling officer. So this is the only embargo that is there, that who he cannot appoint. He shall not appoint any person who has been employed by or on behalf of or has been otherwise working for as a candidate, etc. Now, my lord, it has not been anybody's complaint that anybody has been appointed in contravention of the provisions of section 28. That is my first submission. My second submission is this, my lord. Kindly come to paragraph 2 of the note. Paragraph 11 of part 1 of the handbook of returning officer Panchayat elections stipulate the condition as follows. Instead of, my lord, reading this, I take your lordship straight to the para 11, which is, my lord, annexed to this, annexure 2 of this note. Kindly, my lord, come to annexure 2. The handbook is a thick volume. So, my lord, a portion of it has been quoted. Kindly come to annexure 2, handbook on returning officers. My lord, this is, my lord, kindly your lordship, my lord, make a note of it. This is the handbook on returning officers. Paragraph 11 at the bottom. For the purpose, the polling personnel, presiding officers and polling officers, for the purpose of efficient control of polling personnel and of economy in expenditure on traveling allowances, etc., each district, as far as practicable, should use its own personnel. Vigorous attempts should be made for raising the requisite number of polling personnel for panchayat election from amongst the employees under the state and central government, as well as under the local bodies, secondary and primary schools and colleges, as may be made available by the state government. Assessment of availability of requisite numbers has to be made well in advance. The chief secretary will be requested by the commission to issue instructions to all heads of departments and offices of the state government, central government, quasi-government institutions to furnish to the district panchayat election officer lists showing the number of officers and staff in different categories. These lists would facilitate the task of making suitable selection of polling personnel. Even then, it may not be possible to meet the requirement. Kindly note this. Even then, it may not be possible to meet the requirement of polling personnel from these traditional sources, and the district panchayat election officer may, as a last resort, deploy contractual employees, NCC boys, and civil defense volunteers, etc., with the approval of the State Election Commission to meet the shortage. So, my lord, this is by way of, I should say, so to say, my lord, by way of an abundant caution. If it is found that, my lord, from traditional employees, it is not possible to cover all, then, my lord, power has been given as a last resort to deploy with the contractual employees, NCC boys, etc.
You direct a NCC boy to regulate the crowd, or if suppose some physically challenged person is coming, to assist him to come to the polling booth. That means you can't expect him to be a polling officer.
No, my lord,
that appears to be their concern.
My lord, I tell you, lordship, my lord, what does a polling officer do? He is not, my lord, the person who is in charge of the entire polling station. He is sitting over there, looking into the so far as the, what do you call, the address of the person concerned, the name of the person concerned, the
very vital things. It's a very vital thing. The polling officer, the fellow who's there inside the polling booth, if suppose the door number varies, he will refuse to issue. He will refuse to pass on the slip to the next table.
Has there been a single instance of that?
Sir, you are assuming picture perfect situations in parliamentary elections, probably assembly elections in bigger metropolitan towns, but not in villages. There will be 5 people with the same name, and the parent's name also will be the same. See, that is why they requisition local people.
I would submit, my lord, the local person would be the best person who will be able to identify.
That's true, but then, assuming the entire polling booth is manned by contractual staff, by NCC boys, by Badli workers.
Kindly, my lord, it is only by,
so as a last resort. Please be fair enough to say,
as a last resort.
You please requisition. The RP Act provides for it. You can always, that act is not in derogation with your act.
No, but I don't understand this, my lord. Kindly, my lord, see what is the grievance. I could have understood that in a particular instance, a particular person
is what they say.
He is an illiterate person. He doesn't know what to do. I can understand that kind of a situation. But if a person has been trained for months together, my lord, now kindly come back, my lord.
That appears to be the policy of the state. For 25 years, you continue a person as a contractual employee. I've been saying, I'm just not speaking off my cuff. I've been dealing with Group 4 matters. 25 years he has been a contract employee. And so many cases, of course, sir is not appearing for the state, but then that appears to be the scenario here.
Well, insofar as the election commission is concerned, he is to have sufficient number of people to man these.
True.
Now, my lord, this particular guideline, handbook, has given, my lord, some kind of a guideline as to how it is to be done. It has also provided that in case it is not being, kindly note, my
You can requisition teachers, you can requisition
that is
college staff,
but these are being done.
accountants in colleges.
That is being done. That is being done. And only, my lord, when it is not, kindly, my lord, look at, well, kindly take my note. The note.
No, if you are resisting this prayer, it appears something.
No, my lord, I am not resisting the prayer. I am saying that if there is an
This
appointment,
handbook for returning officer will not bind the court.
but I will submit to your lordship
It
that
will not bind the court.
can you,
But the guidelines handbook issued by the Central Commission, this, if suppose there is inconsistency, that handbook will prevail over this. Because what is more in tune to achieve the free and fair election needs to be adopted.
of course. No, but my lord, I am not disputing that. I am not don't have any quarrel
Because
with that.
this also says as a last resort. But here they have given instances. There may be more.
Where
there
are
may
the
be less.
instances?
No.
The instances are with regard to the state assembly election. Not one instance has been given where the election commission, my lord, in respect of panchayat election or municipal election, had taken place. Where is the complaint? Where is the complaint? I asked this question of my learned friend. Not one complaint has been made. The entire complaint is with. My lord,
Mr. Mitra, kindly come to the West Bengal State Election Commission Act.
yes, my lord, I am there.
Kindly come to section 7.
State Election Commission.
Commission Act
Commission Act.
of 1994.
State Election Commission Act.
Yes.
Kindly give me 1 second. Yes. Malad, is what which section? You know.
7.
First,
Section
kindly come to section 4.
Section 4.
4 first.
Yes, very. Yes. The superintendent's direction and control of the preparation of electoral rolls for and the conduct of all elections in the panchayats shall vest in the commission. Provided the electoral roll of the, for the time being in force for the election of members of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly may, at the discretion of the State Election Commissioner, be adopted to the electoral roll for the election of members by whatever name called to a panchayat to such extent and in such manner as the State Election Commission may think fit.
Now kindly come to section 7.
Section 7. The commission shall have such staff made available to it by the governor when so requested by it as may be necessary for the discharge of the functions conferred on it by subsection 1 of section 4 and
We are
subsection 1.
concerned with 4.1 because it's panchayat.
Right.
So such number of staff for the conduct of elections of the panchayat.
Right.
So what does this staff mean?
Staff means a person who is competent to, who has been properly trained to, my lord, man
The
this.
governor will place it.
Yes.
Requisition made to the and the governor will place it. Section 7 says so.
Yes, quite right. Governor will place it.
So whether the contractual appointees can be placed by the governor
My lord,
for the carrying out of functions under section 4.1.
my lord, I respectfully submit to your lordship, the staff, my lord, the commission shall have staff made available to it by the governor when so requested by it, as may be necessary for the discharge of the functions conferred by subsection 1 of section 4 and section 5. My lord, this staff is, my lord, is a commission staff.
Please come to subsection 2 also,
Subsection 2.
of the same section.
The terms and conditions of service of the members of the staff made available to the commission by the governor shall be regulated in accordance with the rules regulating the terms and conditions of service of the employees of the state government for the timing. My lord, this is concerning, my lord, the staff of the commission. Commission
For the
staff.
purpose of conducting the election.
My lord, I respectfully submit on not for the purpose. This staff is not the staff, my lord, who has been the polling agent or my lord,
No, it may be for your office administration.
yes, these are office administration,
therefore-
nothing more.
Suppose the governor obviously cannot requisition or direct set of contractual employees of the state to be the staff of the
My
commission.
lord, I submit to your lordship, it will be
Staff, what
I
is
think
the
it will be
meaning of
impossible
staff?
for the governor. Kindly see that if your lordship wants, I shall show to your lordship how we have.
No. We are very confident that the State Election Commission will be able to do it. No issues.
So,
But then requisition the required number of staff with whom you can exercise control.
I kindly, my lord, look at. After all, your lordship is looking, not my lord, considering my lord in abstractness. Your lordship in the facts and figures. Has there been a single instance given by a learned?
Prevention is better than cure.
No, my lord.
That's
Of course, prevention is
Past
better.
incidents does not give confidence to the electorate. Some of whom have come here as a public interest litigant, some appearing party in person. So therefore, allay all those fears, saying that nothing is going to happen. I am going to requisition. Now you can requisition bank staff, you can requisition LIC
No, of
staff,
course we should.
everything you are entitled to.
It is, my lord, now it is absolutely complete. We are ready, my lord, to go ahead with the election.
Very good, sir.
And my lord, I tell you, lordship, my lord, I tell you, lordship, what? Today, when I am
All right.
yes,
Public undertaking, state, central, teaching and non-teaching staff, government aided schools, so and so. About 36,000 people are now functioning on orders of stay. If you're going to requisition teaching or non-teaching staff,
yes.
36,000 people are now functioning as teachers on orders of stay of the division bench.
My lord, these are matters, my lord, which completely is within the jurisdiction of
So
the
it is
state
not
election
for us,
commission.
sir, sitting here hearing 4 matters for 2 days to decide all these things.
No, but your
All these
lordship,
arithmetics, mathematics, statistics, you should have everything. Your preparedness should be there. That's all.
no, but I have been given, my lord, a copy of the petition on Friday. By Monday, my lord, I have come before your lordship with the report. And the report says, my lord, to what extent we have been ready. If your lordship, you have not, I have not the opportunity of even looking into the other petitions. This is unfair, my lord, to the commission. Allegations are being made without there being any substance.
Oh, they have requisition.
My lord, these allegations are being made
So,
without any substance.
Total requirement is 4,08,707.
Yes. My lord, kindly see paragraph 3 of my note. Can you kindly come to paragraph 3? The
Yes.
commission has issued guidelines on appointment of polling personnel for the ensuing Panchayat General Election 2023, dated 17th March 2023. The said guidelines stipulate the criteria for selecting polling personnel as follows. The polling parties shall be formed with the available officers and employees of the state government and the central government, public undertakings under the state or central government, municipalities, teaching and non-teaching staff of government and government-aided teaching institutions like colleges, higher secondary and primary schools, and any other employee under the rule-making authority of the state or the central government. It may please be ensured that every polling party consists of at least one employee of the state or central government. No one should be appointed as a member of a polling party who has been employed by or on behalf of or has been otherwise working for a candidate in or about the election. It should also be ensured that no member of the polling party has his official or residential address within the block area where such election will be held. It further stipulates that a presiding officer may be drafted from among the officers and employees not below the rank of an upper division assistant working in the office of the state government, and that the 4th polling officer may be drafted from Group D services. It is pertinent to state that while drafting polling personnel of all categories for elections, the permanent employees of the government are drafted first. In case there is a shortfall, contractual employees are drafted for formation of polling parties after obtaining specific approval from the commission. When the contractual employees were engaged in the past, there had been no complaint about their performance in polling duty. Not one complaint. I could have understood, my lord, some complaint had been made. Well, as your lordship has been pleased to know, my lord,
To be a contractual employee, he will hold a post or he will be posted as something lower than the fourth polling officer. So obviously, probably to regulate the crowd.
Services.
Huh?
Services.
Group D services, he was a regular employee. He'll be the bottom line.
right,
He'll be the fourth polling officer.
right.
Assuming there is a shortfall, which you anticipate, you are going to draft contractual employees. The contractual employees should be assigned certain duties which are lesser than the fourth polling officer. So that's why we like to know what does it mean by polling parties. Para 4 says
Para 4
contractual
is
employees are drafted for formation of polling parties after obtaining specific approval from the commission.
Polling party meaning thereby all the personnel who is constituting that particular.
So he cannot be, definitely he cannot be a fourth polling officer, the least. He cannot be a polling officer because group D, there is a restriction on group D to say that he will be only the fourth polling officer. So they showed one instance, of course, in the assembly election, where the third polling officer was a peon or something like that. We leave it at that. That is assembly election. So if you draft group contractual, you assign the least or the lowest rung in the polling strata. As we understand,
I am only, of course, I'm sorry to have to interrupt your lordship, I am just wondering whether your lordships would go into this nitty-gritty of these things. The election officer has been
correct.
appointed for the
Mr.
purpose of.
Bandapati has said what much we can do, what we cannot do.
No, I am not concerned with it. My lord, I am not neither looking at the right nor looking at the left. My lord, let them, my lord, make their submissions before lordship. But I am submitting to your lordship today. Look at the rules, look at the law, look at what has been contained in the handbooks which I am following. And I have not deviated from any of these. And I am not going to deviate. As I told you, your lordship, I am not going to deviate. But my lord, there have been no complaint whatsoever with regard to it. Kindly see all the complaints, my lord, in the entire petition of Mr. Sanyal's petition. My lord, they are all with regard to, my lord, assembly election. To which, my lord, I have got nothing to do. This is the chief election commissioner who was appointed under the Representation of People Act and who had been dealing with that. No complaint at all against me. Not even in other petitions which have been made before lordship. My lord, grievance has been made with regard to lawlessness. My lord, unfortunately, that is there. And now, who is responsible for it? Whether it is any party or any individual, I do not know. But, my lord, I am to stop that. That is my duty and I shall do it. But it is entirely my responsibility. And I say that without any fear of contradiction. Neither, my lord, the person from the left nor the person on the right can, my lord, dictate as to what I am going to do.
Correct.
I am going to, my lord, hold on to this. My lord, this is, my lord, I respectfully submit to your lordship, and your lordship has been pleased to see in this note that paragraph 7 is saying there will be a huge requirement of polling personnel. As the Panchayat general elections involves 22 districts and more than 60,000 polling stations spread over the state. An estimate of the requirement is provided hereunder, and the total requirement is 4,08,707. I will have to file this personnel. It is a duty of the Election Commission to find out this personnel and, my lord, to put them in place.
Yes.
And, my lord, this list is being prepared. These persons are being trained. And, my lord, under the hawk eye, if I may use that expression, of the Election Commission. And, my lord, appearing for him, my lord, I can assure your lordship, to the best of his ability, he will hold this election, my lord, free from any untoward incident. But lastly, my lord, I only want to show your lordship only one paragraph in the one annex here in the petition. This is, my lord, with regard to the appointment কি করে magistrate
First appointment is to Mysore. Second appointment.
Yes, sir.
On instruction, I'm saying, Your Lordship, I am told that for the purpose of appointment of these polling officers, etc., if there is a shortfall, it is the DM of the area who, my lord, selects the person concerned. And then it goes before the election commission.
Commission for
Because my election commission is not,
no, it can't.
he is not known to the area concerned. So DM is the best person. He selects the person. Then it is approved by the election commission. And my lord, there had been no complaint. This is a new complaint which has been. That is why I'm. My lord, kindly take, my lord. I want to conclude before your lordship, my lord, today. My lord, kindly take the writ petition of Shubhendu Adhikari, the public interest litigation, volume 1, on which, my lord, submission had been made by my learned friend in the morning. I didn't have the opportunity of replying to that. This is with regard to the deployment of CRPF.
Central Force.
I just want to mention only one thing. My lord, kindly come to page 164. The cause title starts there. My lord, this was by Pratap Banerjee against the state of West Bengal. My lord, I had the occasion to appear before on behalf of the state West Bengal State Election Commission. My lord, kindly come to page 173. Or I should say 172. Page 172. In respect of WPA P356 of 2021. By this petition, one of the social workers and political activists has raised a grievance that there was huge state-sponsored violence in broad daylight during the municipal election on 19/12/2021. The polling agents of a particular party were ousted from polling booths, bombs were hurled in various parts of the city, and therefore, without deployment of the central armed forces, free and fair elections are not possible. Can you turn over the page? Then, my lord, WPA 357 of 2021. I am just drawing your lordship's attention to the relevant portion. This is a petition filed by one of the candidates who was contesting the election. That is at page 173 regarding WPA 357. Then, my lord, it says the police authority was acting as the mute spectators while the candidates of the party and the opposite political parties were thrashed. There is an allegation of vote rigging in many polling booths, false voting, cast of lakhs of false votes throughout 144 wards. It is also alleged her party members had lost several complaints, etc., and the police were not reachable. Similar allegation, my lord, at page 174. Now, my lord, this matter was heard out, and my lord, the court gave direction at page 177. After, my lord, hearing this, having regard to the totality of the facts, page 177 top, having regard to the totality of facts and circumstances of the case and considering so and so submission, this is what the court says. The respondent state election commission is directed to preserve CCTV footage of all polling stations of Kolkata Municipal Corporation. The state election commission is also directed to preserve the diaries of the presiding officer and the register containing the thumb impression and signature of voters of all the polling booths in a sealed cover with immediate effect. To preserve the control unit of EVM machines in terms of rules so and so. Then State Election Commission is also directed to preserve the voting record prepared from so and so. For the forthcoming election of the remaining municipal corporation, municipal councils, local bodies, in order to maintain the transparency and fairness, we direct that the State Election Commission shall take steps to install CCTV cameras at conspicuous spots in all main and ancillary booths across the state, and will preserve the CCTV footage so that in case of need, it can be sent for audit. The appellants are permitted to file their objection. Then, thereafter, another order was passed on the 10th of February, about 1.5 months after that, again concerning these things. Your lordship will please to come to
page 188.
Yes, 188. The issue relating to deployment of paramilitary forces had come up before the court during Kolkata Municipal Corporation elections, when this court, taking note of the division bench judgment in the matter of Bashumi Rai Chaudhary, in the order dated 17 December 2021, passed in mat number so and so, had held as under. The deployment of central paramilitary forces during election has been opposed by the learned Advocate General, placing reliance upon the division bench judgment of this court in the matter of Bashumi Rai Chaudhary, wherein it has been held. After hearing the learned counsel for the petitioner at length, we are of the considered opinion that the petition is premature. Apart from that, we find that in the matter of holding elections, law and order situation has to be considered by the State Election Commission. And there are various factors for requisition of the central paramilitary forces, such as law and order situation, paucity of state forces, etc. Such a matter has to be considered by the State Election Commission and the state government, and in case any dispute, State Election Commission and the state government. And in case of any dispute between them, the State Election Commission had something, well, it has not come out, decide whether the central paramilitary forces are necessary in any of the elections. These are the decisions to be taken by the constitutional bodies like the State Election Commission and the state government, etc. Ordinarily, it is not for the court to interfere with such matter. It is the duty of the Election Commission to ensure that free and fair election is held, and for that, necessary steps to be taken by them. Considering the prayers made in the writ petition, we find that the same is not only premature, but on merit, this writ petition is misconceived also. Then, my lord, so far, no instance of violence has been pointed out, nor along with the writ petition, any such material has been enclosed which furnishes a ground for deployment of the central paramilitary forces in the forthcoming Kolkata Municipal Corporation election. Therefore, at this stage, we do not find sufficient material to accept the prayer. However, we take note of the submission of the learned Additional Solicitor General that within 6 hours, the central paramilitary forces can be sent to avoid any untoward incident. Hence, we direct the Election Commission to take an appropriate decision, having due regard to the ground situation in consultation with the state authorities for deployment of central paramilitary forces, in case if the need so arises to ensure free and fearless election. So far as the judgment of the Honorable Court, something has been missed out.
Now, what happens, sir, ultimately?
Paragraph 15. That is the paragraph.
We have come up to 16, we read.
Kindly see, it is essentially for the State Election Commission,
Correct,
which has been vested with the responsibility to ensure free, fair, and fearless election, to assess the ground situation, and to take a decision in respect of the deployment of paramilitary forces, if the circumstances so demand. Instances have been pointed out to this court about violence during election and post-poll violence on the earlier occasions during election in Bidhannagar. Hence, the Election Commission, along with the state authorities, is required to do appraisal of the ground situation prevailing in Bidhannagar and take a decision to deploy paramilitary forces if required.
And middle of page 191,
Yes, and
court said that if he requires, he will submit a requisition.
my lord, yes,
What happened?
he will submit the requisition in a Home Minister
Without
Committee for
delay.
Deployment.
And last line it says, if he doesn't want it, he will be personally liable to ensure that no
Yes.
violence takes place.
Absolutely.
So there was no violence.
But there was complete violence, no requisition made. The matter is pending. There were bloodshed. No,
From Jago Bangla, which is the official mouthpiece of a political party, Trinamool Congress, that was referred to by the State Election Commission to demonstrate that there was no violence. And that was recorded also in the order.
Lord, in that order, your lordship will see, I moved an application for one of the resident voter of that Bidhannagar, my lord. Lord, it was assured that nothing will happen. There was complete, we could not cast a vote.
See, senior advocate has.
They will never requisition. Lord, the process is to somehow ensure that the vote is not
This
cast.
judgment is relied on to show that the exercise has to be done by this to the satisfaction of the commission. That's what the
Saying that they did not.
will here.
And if there is any problem, insofar as my learned friends, clients are concerned, they should approach the Chief Election Commissioner. And if he does not do anything, then only you come to court. That is why the court said it is premature. That is why the court said it is premature. You come to him Tell him that this is what is happening. Do this, do that. After all, my lord, he is not a robot. He is a human being. He will hear. Listen to what you are saying. Instead of making your grievances before the court, I think, my lord, the system should be that you go before the authority concerned. And then, because, my lord, again, my lord, I just wind up my submission by saying that these acts, these legislations have vested a singular authority in a particular person. It is an extraordinary power, if I may say so with respect. The election commissioner holds extraordinary power the moment, my lord, the notification is issued that the election is on. Once that happens, even the state government becomes subservient to, my lord, the directions of the election commission. So, my lord, I am respectfully submitting that if there is any disturbance, go before the. I am not disputing the fact that there had been in the past, there had been disturbances. Then if there had been disturbances, take steps according to law. Every time you cannot rush before the court and say, do this and do that. No, I am respectfully submitting to your lordship. These are the authorities which are there. And this, my lord, had been appreciated by this division bench and said that you do this.
Yes.
Well, the CCTV cameras will be there, the video recording will be there, and any grievance will be there. Well, the point is this, that
No, that already forms part of your first report
yes,
you gave in the morning.
And whatever report at any point of time your lordship wants, we shall come back before your lordship with the report. At any point of time, you call upon me, I shall come before your lordship with the report as to what we are doing. If there is any grievance, the grievance must be met on the field. It has to be done. It can't be, my lord, decided in the court of law. My learned friend is saying one thing on the right, left, and my learned friend saying something else on the right. The two warring parties, my lord, are quarreling with each other. The court cannot solve this problem.
And another friend on the extreme right is saying something.
Yes, extreme right is saying something else.
All about left, right, and center.
But I have not said anything.
And we are in the center.
I have not even uttered a word.
Well, I therefore respectfully submit to your lordship that my lord, keep the, if I may use the expression, without instruction, I am saying so. Keep the election commission on his feet. Let him, my lord, tell your lordship, if your lordship wants to know. Grievances should be sorted out on field.
Yes.
I think that is the best way of doing it. Well, these are my responses.
We'll admit the matter then. We'll admit the petitions, let them file affidavits. 2024, we can take a decision. So we have heard any
things only on CCTV camera and paramilitary, my lord. What my friend just argued.
CCTV camera, you leave. Paramilitary, what you want to say?
Yes, two things I want to say, my lords. This is really a very frequent situation, my lords. When we come to court before.
No, first submission of Mr. Mitro is, please trust us.
No, I understand, my lords. I bow down.
Please trust us. I am neither here nor. So past experiences, right? There are chances that I may be a reformed person. So he says, you give that discretion, you trust me. As per the constitutional scheme, you need to trust me.
I am obliged to my lords for paraphrasing what Mr. Mitro has submitted, my lords, in a very poetic manner, my lords. May I just respond to what really fell from my lords in the light of what Mr. Mitro has submitted? It's a very piquant situation. What is really the burden of the song appears to be this. At some stage, nothing concrete has occurred today. Why are you coming and crying foul? You have to expect me to act fairly, is really what they are saying.
That's what we mean.
That's right. Now the
prevention is better than cure.
Exactly, my lords.
We have said that. We have said
that. That is one, my lords. That is one. Number two, please see how it becomes a riddle. If this approach were to be accepted, how it becomes a riddle. Today, nothing has happened. So therefore, no orders need be passed. We will hope that nothing will happen. On the day when the polling takes place or at every stage, let it be filing of nominations, let it be stage of scrutiny, thereafter during the canvassing, etc., my lords, and ultimately the polling date, it's a single polling date. When there is a problem, it is too late then. Then, my lords, election petition. Please see how the whole of it would become a completely academic and meaningless exercise. Now, in fact, my lords, please recall the order which my friend extensively read out, my lords, of this very honorable court division bench of the chief court. Now that in between, my lords, refers to an order passed, my lords, by the Madras High Court.
Yes.
2007. AIADMK versus State Election Commission. My lords, the Chief Justice would recall, there was large-scale violence on the day of
So
polling.
the expression used is
Yes.
monstrosity of the situation.
I bow down. In fact, there was, my lords, a split between two honorable judges constituting the division bench. The matter went to, my lords, the third judge,
Justice Mishra.
Justice P.K. Mishra. Because we were involved in that litigation at some stage, my lords. That's the reason why I recall that vividly, because that, in fact, we have that decision also, my lords, will circulate.
In fact, I have referred to it.
Yes.
In fact, we both disagreed on one. There's a dissenting judgment.
Yes.
In my judgment regarding the West Bengal Pharmacy Council, I had referred to that full bench.
Yeah, I bowed down, my lords. And the matter was taken to
That's like ballot papers was thrown in the road.
That's right.
Ballot boxes were thrown here into the canal.
I understand 18, it was no different here.
Not 18, the ballot boxes were not put into
Why
fire.
did you not file a single election petition?
That shows lack of security in the state.
Nothing.
You would go.
Things I want to
Do you want me to lose my life?
Just two more things.
That's it.
My lord,
Just two more things.
At this stage, on a lighter note, I'm not interrupting you. On a lighter note, it's nice to hear that apart from West Bengal, also things happen elsewhere. I was very much unnerved by the allegations made from the two sides.
No, in fact, I can say one thing just to respond to that. It was a one-off. It was a one-off there. It was a one-off. One-off there in
In
2007.
fact, Justice Mohabbatia, who was they then became the acting Chief Justice.
Yes,
he differed.
exactly.
Justice Khalifullah,
That's correct. That's right.
saying that referring to Ponnusamy, etc.
Yes.
So therefore, it can't intervene.
In fact, my lords, just two more sentences. I'm done, my lords. On this paramilitary, just have a look at their response, my lords. Just my unease is this, my lords. Please see the second page of their report. It's so, my lords, diffuse and evasive. Please have a look at it.
Yes, we read that once, twice. We read it.
But just see, meeting on assessment of deployment of forces
So that's what he says.
was taken by the commissioner on 9/6.
That report is No, it is there.
No, which events?
EC says that
Yes.
he is going to discuss.
That's right, my lords. Now, please see in what terms it's said. An assessment plan, the last sentence, my lords, on that subject. An assessment plan by the state will be submitted in due course, which will be reviewed by the commission for taking appropriate decision. My lords, this is something which is completely, my lords, diffuse and evasive. And one more thing, my lords. Even on CCTV camera, as I said, my lords, the lack of comfort and uneasiness is because of the fact that there's some kind of a conscious, my lords, resistance to any kind of proactive measures being taken towards preventive measures, because these preventive measures.
Why they are fighting on this ego? If there is a loss of life, he was said that he is personally responsible. Till then, he did not do it. 1, 2, 3.
One more thing, my lord.
6 hours. Still he did not do it.
CCTV. Please see again, the same sense comes out of it. Please see regarding CCTV, the very next paragraph.
Yes.
Now, after referring to the municipal elections where they say infrastructure is good, etc., last three, 4 lines. In urban areas with better infrastructure and polling stations involved were much less in number. In those elections, there were 4,959 polling stations involved in the first phase, 1,383 polling stations in the second phase, and 10,813 polling stations involved in the last phase. It may be added that logistically also, it is not possible to install CCTV cameras in all polling stations. Today, 2 things therefore come out of it, my lords. One, by definition, you are saying that the level of exercise to be undertaken is far more mammoth so far as these elections are concerned. Which comes back to my basic point on as to how you have really thrust and imposed, my lords, a notification with such tight guidelines without any preparatory work. Number 2, starting from the filing of nominations, my lords, this problem is going to therefore go right through the process. Today, you are looking at the election process as a package. It's not just the filing of nominations, just the date of scrutiny of nominations, just the date of withdrawal, and thereafter one fine day the polling takes place. No, it's a process where the entire electorate, the citizenry at the lowest level, my lords, at the grassroots level is involved. Today, this is a giveaway that you don't have preparations in place.
Use the time for which
Yeah.
That will be a
Yes.
pass up to the parameter.
We will show the yes.
even we have group marches before the election days.
My lords are familiar with how all this takes place, my lords. When you have a paramilitary force coming in, there's a route march conducted. These are all measures where the administration basically conveys the message to the public, here we are to take care of you. Everything is hunky-dory, everything is good. Please come forward, vote without
In
difficulty.
fact, that was the observation made by this bench in the other matter,
I bow down, my lords.
which the state accepted the order.
I bow down, my lords. In fact, the kind of stand which is taken in respect of paramilitary forces, please contrast it with CCTV. If what they are saying on CCTV has to be accepted, then you need paramilitary forces.
Yes.
In fact, in that other order, where they read out, my lords, the earlier division bench order, there, the central government has said within 6 hours they'll make available these people. I am presuming, my lords, paramilitary forces are at the service of the public. Therefore, it's available for free. The central government is here today, my lords.
No, they will charge the state government.
No.
Let them say.
Whatever, my lords, let them say what they want to say on that, my lords. The point I am making is this. The point I'm
So
making.
you provided free of cost.
Whatever
Free of cost you
needed for it, we'll be complying with that.
Therefore, it should really be an effort where they say, now you are lacking in staff for conducting the election. You are looking at Badli workers, contract workers, NCC students, etc., etc. Now your police are what they are in terms of past incidents and also the numbers. Let me assume for a minute, my lords, everything is fine.
Even one for one.
Even then, my lords, the numbers are so grossly inadequate because even according to them, it's a mammoth exercise. 74,000 booths, seats. With all that, how is it that you would be able to logically, my lords, handle the whole of it? Has there been any material to show that there has been application of mind to all of this? Please see 42 talks of fixing of date in consultation with the commission. This gentleman comes into the scene on 7th. What kind of consultation would have occurred? What application of mind would have taken place for fixing the date? My lords, I asked myself the question, where is the material for all of this? Why do you want to rush through this process?
We'll consider.
Going through the response, my lord, an assessment plan by the state was submitted and used, my lord. This exercise ought to have done prior to that because, my lord, the instilling confidence in the minds of the electors, my lord. After 9 months, the entire process starts, and it was a specific demand, my lord, the deployment of the central paramilitary forces right from the date with the nomination start. My lord, there has been instances where due to dearth of police officials, it has been seen that the civic volunteers are flying with lathis on their hands, and that is what we have.
No, that we have shown. That they have shown in that other petition also.
Following the data scrutiny.
It shows that this
No, don't repeat. Don't repeat, sir.
Not only in respect of minor, only 2-3 minutes, your lordships, to the reply to
We have heard you, sir.
no, to the reply of my learned friend, because my learned friend has said, your lordships, just with the written submissions.
Yes.
If your lordships kindly consider the first page, section 28(1) of the West Bengal Panchayat Election Act. This is perimeteria with section 26 of the 1951 Act.
Yes, it is. Give this much. Yes.
But section 21 of the West Bengal Panchayat Election Act 23, my lord, this is perimeteria, my lord, with section, my lord, 26 of the 1951 Act, Central Act. Then your lordship, paragraph 11.
21 is parameteria with
28(1) is parameteria with section 26 of the 1951 Act.
yes.
Then if your losses consider paragraph 11, part 1 of the handbook of returning officer, this is exactly, my lord, the personal management of the para 3.2 A, B, C, D. If your losses consider that, I have placed it of the election manager.
But it doesn't say the last 5 or 6 lines.
I tell you losses. Then your losses kindly consider the section 7 of the Act of 1994 of the State Act, Election Act, Panchayat Election Act. This is perimeteria with section 159 of the Central Act, 1951. Your lordship has explained to you staff. Staff means staff belongs to the governor. That means he should be in the state payroll. That can be requisition. If your lordship kindly read the 2 sections, section 151, subsection 1, and section 7 of the 1951 Act, and section 7(1) of the 1994 Act. So therefore, my lord, our petition is based on that contractual employer, my lord, who are work charge employees cannot be employed or engaged in any election of constitutional bodies.
But
in any election.
You don't understand, my lord, the point I'm making. I'm saying that the instances you have given in your petition, they are all concerning as assembly
That's
election.
what we have
There is
got.
not
Now
one in respect of this, my lord.
My lord, your lordship will find paragraph 31, 32. I have given your lordship that these employees, my lord, I have given instance of broadly of one district, Howrah, 2,000 employees of contractual of one unit, Calcutta Howrah Municipal Corporation was employed in last terminalism. But they were recruited, your lordship, in 2015-16. I have said in paragraph 32, in the last Panchayat election in 2017, they have been employed and they have conducted election, and that will be evident from these notes. Your lordship can have a look at this.
It is not we conduct.
I take your lordship page 13 of these notes. This is of 2018.
Yes.
In reply to sub and reference quoted above, I am directed to inform you that you can deploy contractual employees under government setup only as vote polling officers. 2018, my lord, they have already employed this. But we are on the better, my lord. There cannot be fair and just election under the hands of the contractual employees.
Well, the reason is this, that under the Representation of People Act, no contractual employee can be engaged. But my lord, the handbook, which has been formulated, framed under, my lord, these acts, Panchayat Act, Election Act, there is a specific provision that in case there is shortfall, case there is shortfall,
no,
then only I will be able
as a last
that
resort,
is the basic
as a last resort.
As a last
resort, deploy.
As a last resort.
That's why our question
and I told you, lordship, we will not.
This handbook cannot go contrary to the my lord, section 7 of the 1994 Act. Your lordship, kindly have a look at section 7. My lord, 1. My lord, I just read out. The commission shall have such staff. Kindly, but this is perimeter out section 159.
Commission staff.
Commission shall have such staff, not commission staff.
Yes.
Comma, made available to it by the governor.
That's right.
So this does not, my lord, say that this
it is the argument
by
is
personal
staff of the commission.
Commission after requisitioning.
No.
Exactly, your lordship. Kindly have a look at this.
No.
After requisition.
The act is, if you see the preamble to the act, it says an act to provide for matters relating to constitution of the State Election Commission is entrusted with the duty of conducting the election. Now your case is, in the election duty, you don't deploy contractual staff. You don't deploy badli. You don't deploy this, what is it? Civic volunteers.
Kindly, section 4, 5 and 7. If we read together, these staff mentioned in section 7, this is a staff as made available to it, to the commission by the governor.
Correct, for the discharge of the functions under section 4(1).
Exactly. Therefore, these staff not originally belong to the commission.
Superintendent's 4(1) says, superintendent's direction, control, preparation of electoral roads for and the conduct of all election to the panchayat wish with the commission. So for the purposes of this staff deployment is.
Does it include contractual?
It doesn't. Obviously, the governor cannot.
Therefore, your lordships, therefore, those malad in staff malad given by the malad deployed by the for the conduct of elections available to it by the governors when so requested by it. In terms of section 4 and 5, kindly see the entire section of subsection 1 of section 7.
But in your commission, this whatever the state election commission has requisitioned, have you got any contractual staff being also
In my staff? No, of course not. I don't need them.
Other points which
If I don't need, why should I take them?
if you don't need them in the commission, then why do you need them in the elections?
No, no.
Exactly,
If I do,
conduct of
my lord,
election.
kindly note this. Again, I am emphasizing the language. My lord, there's a last resort.
All right, we'll consider. We have heard
Lordship.
so and so, so and so.
We have
But
done
only
this.
kindly consider section 4, the conduct of election this town.
Yes, yes, there is a catch. Not as result.
Attacked when they went to submit their nomination. When not 24 Parganas, Birbhum.
But any of you are contesting? No.
No, the information have been received tomorrow morning.
Then we'll issue a direction today that you should be provided adequate.
I don't think anyone this side, my lords.
State. Now the MLAs of the ruling parties, they are saying we are ensuring there will be peaceful conduct of the election.
I don't think anyone this
They
side
have taken
is
the
that
view of
bold,
election
my lords, to now enter into this.
Who is not? There are number of persons you don't know. Mr. Bhushan, I am telling you.
Maybe, perhaps.
These left-hand side, 4 or 5 persons,
Oh, I see.
all convince the state, entire peoples of the state from since 6 o'clock. Don't know how much powerful they are.
My lords, just one procedural aspect.
Your Lordship, I am so sorry to interrupt you, but I have to mention a matter.
Lords, can I?
To be for hearing no.
No, not for hearing, Your Lordship. The matter was listed on Friday also. It is for election matter. And
Election to which election?
With your Lordship, it's a minor election, but it is an election to the Cost and Work Accountants Institute. To that matter, I mentioned on Friday, Your Lordship.
Yes, yes.
If Your Lordship would kindly take it up tomorrow, my lord, because
Today it's there in the list.
it is there in the list today, but Your Lordship takes it up then on Wednesdays. I was humbly praying if the bench could take it up tomorrow, my lord.
We'll discuss
If it's subject to Your Lordship.
subject to our engagement tomorrow.
Please, man.
There are other
I follow.
commitments for me.
I know, my lord. Today has
Oh,
been a
no, we don't know.
Just one request procedurally, my lords. We have argued on the 4 or 5 main points. With regard to the observer, simultaneous polling, etc., we have really not argued. We are presuming that, my lords, in due course.
That's why 2 options, Mr. Krishnamurthy. We can admit it, issue notice.
No, my lords. That's why I'm saying I'm presuming that that's not something which my lords are really not getting into, my lords, at this stage.
Let us see. Let us see.
Very well.
You have placed everything.
Very well.
We will be rest assured. We'll read.
I'm obliged.
I have given the number of my petition to that exposure of the assets and the other.
That is larger issues.
Order to
Not tomorrow. Impossible.
My lord, only one thing on Friday's order, your lordships have the points and your lordships' views have been given, which will be entertained, which are not. Only the portion which have maybe considered, that part we have argued, not the part which has already been covered by your lordships.
No, we have said about the prayers and we have
That's right, exactly.
expressed a prima facie view on a few issues and
Lord,
allowed AC's.
Lord, where the prima facie view is there, your lordships have made it very clear. Page 5, English, serial number 10. But that after that paragraph 11, etc., these are not prima facie view. What is the prima facie view? Your lordships have, my lord, window has been opened. But the other parts your lordships have dealt with that. That's why I'm submitting.
We'll
For
take up
Gram
your matter.
Panchayat and Jila Parishad, these are available. For Gram Panchayat, it is not available. Jila Parishad, Panchayat Samiti, they are available on the website of the Election Commission. For Gram Panchayat, who have contested earlier, who won.
Why don't you give a petition to the commissioner?
It was there, they were directed to file a report.
No. Now you give a new election commission has taken up. You give the petition saying that it,
Otherwise, how can you compare?
I've been served a copy.
then you give the copy to the
Yes.
commission. So commission will consider.
Yes.
My lord, one thing, one point that 144 has been imposed. Another one thing, very importantly, has been done by the Election Commission, that in the center of the nomination, only 2 persons will be allowed on behalf of one candidate. That has also been made by the Election Commission. Yes.
That goes against their own rule.
Volunteers are also allowed. I think, my lord, I shall make a prayer for an
Yes,
injunction
exactly.
against all the council from making any more than submission. It's 4:45.
We are obliged, my lord, for a very patient hearing.
অনেক হয়েছে। So we have said everything. We have said everything is possible.